Welcome back, casuals.
Woo! Let's get motivated.
They carried me out and then just launched me like a little javelin.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Welcome back, casuals. Back for another one. We have another guest on this one.
Welcome.
We have a local legend.
G'day.
North Queensland boy.
North Queenslander.
Johnny Rowe.
Mr. Johnny Rowe.
How you
Welcome. Good, mate. Good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for coming in, brother.
Welcome. Cheers. Thanks
So,
for having me.
we've got a
finally
bit-
got here. It took a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. Oh, that's adult life, eh? Things
Yeah,
get
man.
busy.
Trying to
But,
organise, yeah.
we made
At least
it.
we're on the same. At least we're on the same days off. That makes
Yeah,
it easier
FIFO
too.
life, man.
Yeah, FIFO.
Everything's cut in half, you know.
So Johnny's out in the mines like most of us.
Yeah,
Out of Fossey. Shout out Fossey.
Shout out Foss Hill.
Shout out
How
Fossey.
he's
Shout
all
out
doing.
my brother, Hoops.
Shout out Hoops.
Big,
All the
for
big
Hoops.
Hoops. Yeah, he lined it up for us. We've spoken about him a bit on here, the mad bastard.
Yeah, man.
It sounds like completely different to that
Yeah.
group, eh?
We
Yeah.
got plenty of stories about him.
He's working in the background, man. He's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, you should go see my bro. And I was like, oh, right. And yeah, as I was saying to you, I was like, yeah, what has it been over 12 months now?
Yeah.
I was like, finally, all right, we get here. But he'd be at work. He'd be like, you see my brother yet?
Sure, Junior.
Nah, but thanks for yep.
Well,
you're
I
right.
haven't
Next break, next week. Hey, you see my...
I haven't even seen him yet either. I haven't seen him, and we're getting on the beers this weekend actually.
Ah, good
so,
on you. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's good timing.
He's top bloke, man. Top bloke. But yeah, he's there. Make sure you call him, mate. Yeah. I hear you were doing like permits and stuff. He's like, you call him, mate. Yeah. You're right, dude. I
Just
will, man.
bailing you up.
Yeah, put me on the spot. It's good though. I kept telling him, like, hold me to it, man. Hold me to it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But yeah, we got a bit to cover today.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might just start it. You know, growing up, and I was in Innisfail on the weekend where you grew
shout
up.
out Innisfail,
Yeah,
yeah.
shout out Innie, and because
man.
my missus family from all up that way.
Yeah, okay.
But I was up there with Anthony Alcock.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I
That's
called-
Tony Alcock.
Yeah,
relation, brother.
old
or-
Taz. Yeah, Tony. Yeah.
I did some music with Taz. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Innisfail, man, top place. I moved there from Brisbane, of all places.
Yeah.
How old were you when you moved there, man?
I was 12,
Yep.
turning 13. and
Straight into the high school years.
Yeah. We would say Brizzy was normal life. The old girl and I, just her and I. Housing commission life,
Yeah,
sort of
okay.
thing. So because it was just her and I, we were moving a lot.
Just used to. Just
Just the two of us.
No brothers
yeah.
and sisters?
No. Well,
No dad?
we're going to need a long podcast.
get it going. We got time.
I do have a sister, man. Yeah,
Yep.
but that's like again, I think of it as chapters, right? So
Yep.
my sister and I, 10 years apart, same mum, different dads. There's a whole story there on
Yep.
how that came to pass. Her and I do know her.
Yep.
We do know each other. Just and we have tried to rekindle, so to speak,
Yeah,
over
man.
the years. It just didn't take, and that's because she's. I don't put words in her mouth, but she's battling her own demons, so to speak. And
Fair enough, bro,
we
yeah.
tried, man. Like we just full tried, and all of a sudden, I got my life going on,
Yep.
family
Yep.
and stuff.
Everyone's
So,
got their
yeah.
own stuff
I get that too,
happening,
but I'm the same mother, just me and my mum.
Yeah.
No dad, no
Oh, there you
siblings.
go,
So I
man.
feel that, bro. Yep. I feel that
Yeah.
life. It wasn't easy. No walls.
Nah, but the old girl did her best she could with what she
Yep.
had, and she had, of course, she had her own things to deal with as well as take on. I swear, I had all the, they got all the diagnoses and everything for young kids these days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have
I
been
would've had
happening
a-
back then.
Oh,
eh?
100%.
Everything under the alphabet.
I would
eh?
have had a few of those, man. No red cordial, green cordial in my house.
Hey,
you
beaming.
know. Yeah, low sugar. This kid,
Yeah.
no Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yeah, good on you, man.
But was that from a young age? Just
Young age, man.
Bouncing off the walls,
Hyper.
Good on the
kid.
field then, eh? Release that energy on the field.
Well,
Did you discover footy
eventually,
in Innisfail or in Brizzy?
So yeah, Innisfail, Brizzy was just normal life,
Yep.
normal life as it could be.
Yes.
With a single mum and myself, and then Houso sort of stuff. And then we moved to Innisfail. The old girl thought she'd met Mr. Right up there. I bounced around between aunts and family down in Brizzy until she settled.
Yep.
And it was 93, 94, where she rings and says, we're moving to Innisfail. I was like, where the fuck's that? I was like, where's that? And she goes, don't worry, you're coming up here, that's it.
pack your raincoat.
That's it.
Yeah, a fishing rod.
So off I went, man, and I was in Innisfail, made friends there pretty quick, and the guy I was talking about before we started, John was first mate I made.
Oh, up
Murray
and
lad,
yeah.
Indigenous lad, yeah, he and I are tight to this day. It's
That's awesome.
That was far out, nearly 30 years ago. Jeez.
That's good,
30
eh?
plus years ago. So
A
he and
lasting
I-
friendship.
It's a spin
Yeah,
out,
it's
when
wicked.
you start like I used to hear my parents say, "Oh, I've known him for 20 years, 30
Yeah.
years," and you couldn't really understand how long that is.
And
but
now we're at that- we're at that. Yep.
I'm a bit younger than you, and I have friends 20 years old.
Yeah, man.
Like
You only get a handful. Like
Yeah.
you know, there's a. I got a couple of handfuls
Yeah.
of people I could bump into tomorrow.
It's like you-
hadn't seen and be like pick up.
Be
where
like
you
you
left
seen
off.
him yesterday. Yeah, that's a true friendship there.
Yeah,
Man.
man. But Uncle Jay and I, we stay in contact quite a bit.
Awesome.
Still make music together. He's pursuing acting, and he's also become quite the entrepreneur.
Awesome.
So yeah, he's a good dude, man. And he comes down. My kids call him Uncle, and you
Yep.
know.
Shout out to John.
Shout out to
Is he
John
still
John.
up that way?
Jay Point. Yeah, he lives in Cairns. He's just moved to Gordonvale with some family.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. But wherever he is, he's kind of like what would you call it? He's ready to rock. Like he's got his media. He's very high up in the media and
Nice.
music and
Awesome.
in the arts, we'll say, you know, in that media
Yeah.
space. So yeah, a lot of love for Jay Point, man. But we were in Innisfail. That's where we met, and then through him, I made friends. I was basically, look, man, I was the Migloo in the
The token little
I
Migloo
was, man. I
cruising
was the
around.
token white lad, like you know, walking around Innisfail. That's where we come up. But in terms of football and rugby league, that welcomed me or opened the gate to another circle of friends.
Yep.
And I remember going to school, man, Central State School. I had a new pair of Lynx Power Cell, you know, from Brizzy.
yeah.
So I thought, yeah, rocking it.
Velcros. I had the Lynx Velcros.
Oh man, I thought, man, Mum, you splashed on this. Like, they would have been good in Brizzy because I walked in, everyone's barefoot. And I
Look
went,
at this flash.
yeah, right. And I went, oh. So the next day, I was like, no, I'm going barefoot. You're not going barefoot, rah, rah, rah. I was like, no, trust me, everyone's barefoot. But when I walked in, I met still a friend to this day, Big Bo Strickland. Shout out Bowie. I think he's still up in Innisfail. Fiery red hair, fierce footy player. The first thing he says, I sit down, nervous, new kid in school. He's like, hey, man, you play footy? I was like, yeah, I play soccer. He's like, oh.
That's not footy.
I remember him just going, what are you playing that shit for? Like, this is grade 7, you know? And I was like, what do you play? He's like, this is league country, bud. And I was like, what's league? You know? And then that's how he and I become friends.
Right.
And he just started talking all this stuff about football and league and name dropping as if I knew them. And I'm like, man, this dude's cracked, you know?
That was fucking awesome.
But the first year I was up there, I continued to play soccer.
Yeah.
And you know, there was good people in soccer as well. Every second person's Italian. So
Yeah,
every
of
name ends in Eni or Cini or Parisi, or, you know. I'm Rowbotham. And but I played soccer. And then when I was playing soccer, I realised that while I enjoyed it and I made good friends playing soccer, Bowie at school, how was soccer this week? Wow, he's just pouring it on me. And I was like, he goes, just come to training one day.
Give it a crack.
Yep. And we went down the Innisfail race course, and there was the coach's name was Mr. Lees, not Mr. Lee, because he comes next. And I started going to play soccer. I started going footy training, rugby league training, and then playing soccer on the weekends. And because they didn't have numbers in the soccer, they still let me play, even though I wasn't going to training. But I started creating or developing all these new friendships in the league space. And so finished soccer. I was like, right, next year I'm playing rugby league. So this would have been under 13s. So under 12s was soccer, that was finished. So I'm telling the old girl, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm thinking about this rugby league. You're not playing rugby league. You're not playing bullshit. You're not playing rugby league.
What, scared you're going to get hurt or something?
Football is the devil.
Mum's like, yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much, you know, you're not playing. That's a meathead game. I was like, you don't even come watch me play soccer, you know. She's like, that's it. You're not playing it. So righto. So this is a good story, and it's a true story. Shout out, Mum. R.I.P. Mum. Come end of the beginning of the new season under 13s, and Mum didn't mind a drop, you know, and so. One night she's there, it's Friday, and she used to be a builder's labourer, would you believe? Shit, yeah, so her man at the time, don't want to give him too much airplay, but the man at the time was a builder. The old girl was builder's labourer.
Oh, really?
And so used to be, you know, they'd hit the pub, Queen's Hotel, shout out Queen's, and then they'd sauce up there, come home, continue on. And I remember going, man, I got to get the old girl's signature here somehow. So, yeah, that was sourced up, and I've come in, I said, here's my soccer permission slip for next year.
Sneaky.
You know, and she's like, what? I said, soccer next year, Mum. Like, oh, yeah, bring it in. You know, and I think it was like $50. So I pinched the $50 out of old mate's wallet. I was like, I'll get the hiding for it. I don't care. Like, you know, and that was it. So I took the permission slip and the $50, and it was for the leprechauns. They call them brothers. Yeah. Well, so leprechauns, they still are in Innisfail.
Yeah.
Still brothers. Anyway, and that's how I went down, handed in the permission slip to Mr. Lee, who was the under-13s coach.
That's improv. That's improvisation.
Oh, man, yeah. Because like,
do what you got to do.
Bowie, that's what Bowie was saying. Man, do what you got to do. Come play footy, rugby league, you know, all your mates there now. I was like, yep. So under-13s was the first year, man.
That's pretty, because we're going to get into some of the stuff. Yeah,
that's a late start for footy. I feel
some of the stuff.
That's the year they first put boots on. So they were playing. We used to soccer was boots. Footy was barefoot. I think up until 11s or 12s.
Oh yeah.
Well, you fact check me on that.
Yeah.
But 13s was the first.
Yeah, okay.
So I had no footy boots, right?
So what did you come in playing? You wouldn't be a winger to start with?
Centre, man. It was the very first game. And this is when they still did outside centre, inside centre.
Yep.
And Bowie was the inside centre.
Yep.
And so he's like, I'll look after you. I got no idea. I'm Forrest Gump out there, man. I got no idea.
Just running.
He's like, man, when you get the ball, man, you explode. And I was like, all right. You know, and we were playing a trial game in Ingham. That was a pre-season match. And they're a tough side, man. Shout out Herbert River. Man, them boys are brutal.
They were still being Tigers back then, eh?
I think, yeah.
Crushers now. Crushers now. It used
they
to be
changed
Tigers.
from
They would have been Tigers, you're right, man. They were. And yeah, man, I got 2 tries. But Bowie would just sort of come over and make sure I didn't drop the ball, and he kind of hand it to me. Go, Johnny, go! Like,
Just give it to you.
Just boss, you know. So he and I were, I guess you could say, bigger for our age.
Yep.
He was bigger than me.
Yep.
He was just, man, Bowie's a boss. And but he could have, like, this is the old days, you'd run around the teams and score tries.
Yeah.
But I remember just saying, you know, man, that was awesome. I was pumped after, you know, like more. But I wanted to be in the action more.
Yep.
And I remember saying to the coach, can I play somewhere else? You know, I said, Bo's out there, you got him. He goes, well, you go on the forwards. Yeah. And I went, yeah, let's go.
Fuck yeah.
So it was like lock forward, second row. And that's where I stayed,
Just talk
man.
to
You
it
stuck
that
around
way.
there?
Like,
Yep.
I did, man. It was just, I don't know, bro. I think it was the contact, you know, that I really liked getting hit.
The adrenaline.
I liked hitting.
Yep.
I liked the combative side.
Let the
adrenaline.
steam off.
Yeah, mate.
Yep.
And I had a lot to let off.
Yeah.
You know? And so soccer was a great, just sports in general. I don't shit on any sport.
A bit more
like,
technical, where here you could let out the steam. That's
yeah,
been built
mate.
up.
I was like,
Yep.
wow, I get
Yep.
to hit people and not get in
did you
trouble.
find too, like, they was your people?
Yeah,
You know, like,
I did, man. Just fit, you know, and
Yep.
it just so all of a sudden I had multiple friend circles beginning. You know, I had John and just my normal everyday life. I had Bowie. I still had my soccer friends, but footy is what took, man.
Yep.
And Innisfail is basically where I say life began for me in terms of sport, because that's where I found rugby league. Well, it found me.
Yeah.
It's a big outlet for a lot of young people up here, eh?
Hell yeah,
It's a massive
man.
outlet.
Hell yeah, hell
Massive
yeah.
sort of
I
source.
never thought things would come of it. It was just basically every weekend, train hard. It was fun.
Yep.
And that's where I felt free.
hang out
Yep.
with your friends. Yeah.
Friends,
Yep,
man,
yep.
weekends, and then I'd play 2 games, 3 games, you know, 13s, 14s. You need someone? Yeah, I'll play.
It's
I didn't want to go
unreal,
home. I was like,
Kids
yeah,
just
man, I'll
breathe
play.
it. Kids breathe it.
I
And
guess
love it, eh?
especially if you do, you know, like, just having your mum and probably,
Yeah.
by the sounds of it, a stepdad, you didn't quite like that much
home
hair
was-
on the sauce. So
yeah.
if you could
Yeah.
avoid that and just
Yeah, man.
train.
The more I was away, more I was out,
Yeah.
the better. You know,
Train
home
and
wasn't the
play
best.
footy.
Home wasn't the best.
Yep.
So it was just good to, that was the outlet.
No,
you know,
Good on you.
it was
and
the outlet.
then, like you say, you didn't expect anything to come from it. So when did it, like, what age and
Sink in that.
and
wow,
what sort
I'm
of
half good at
steps
this.
took there where
how sort of went into the
because you started sort of on this pretty good projection from there.
first year I made North Queensland under 13s.
Straight up.
Yeah. So that was apparently it was a big deal. And I was like, okay,
Definitely
cool.
a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
rep sides and stuff, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So we went away. We went down to Gladstone. Chrissy Shepherd was in the side. Shout out Chris. And and my mate Davey Roberts was in the side. Bloke named Bevan Carr, Cameron May. These are all big guys, man. Like, you know the Eacham boys, the Tablelands.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, they were big. So my mate
Big
Zane.
farming cunts and shit.
Oh, bro, I don't know what the hell, man. Like volcanic soil, I don't know, man. But like, quick story, my mate, we were in the rep side, Innisfail rep side. Yep. My mate Zane Ramsey, shout out Zane, R.I.P. He's saying, "Oh man, you think you're big?" I was like, "No, I don't think I'm big." He goes, "Well, you know, you're considered big for your size." He goes, "You wait till we go up to play Eacham." And I was like, "Oh, they can't be that big." You know, and I loved it. Like if I was come up against bigger players, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm
Yeah, that's your target.
I'm going at you.
Raise the bar.
We walked in the dressing shed, and then a group of people walked in, and Zano comes over and goes, "That's them." And I was like, "Bullshit." And one of them had a beard, man. Like you, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, "They're not 13-year-old, man." He goes, "Bro, that's we're playing them."
Check their birth certificate.
Oh, something off a movie.
Yeah, man. Yeah, two big white boys stood out. Was Bevan Carr and Cameron May, and then there was Jamie Cashmere. I think I'm saying his name right, man. They were big, man. We went out and I said, I'm going at these big boys. I don't care. I'm like, I was 75 kilo, 70 kilo. These boys would have been 85. Yeah. Cameron May would have been 90 kilo. That dude,
13-year-old, that's
Bras,
big.
and could run, man. They bashed us, but I just was like, I was loving it. It was hard footy. Yep. They bashed us, they give us a touch up. But I just was like, wow. And then I remember blokes like Zano and Bowie going, man, if you want to go far, man, you got to go at them boys. Yeah. And so, the NQ. So we were in the NQ side. I think I got a 17 jumper, which was good experience. It was the end of that year. So it would have been end of 94 roundabouts. There was a letter. I got a letter, like, who does letters these days? I got a letter in the mail. I still remember it had a North Queensland Cowboys stamp on it.
Unreal.
So that was when they come in 95.
95.
Yeah. So there was I had a letter and I was like, I don't know who the fuck these Cowboys. I don't know.
Yeah, no one would have known. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what this is all about. So I thought, oh, it's cool. Another rep side. I get another free feet. Like this will be awesome,
Little trip away.
Yeah. So I cracked it open and then it said you've been invited to some trial. Not trial. You've been invited to a camp, like a training camp. Yep. They used to run development camps, and straight away I went to John. I said, Russ, what's this? And he's like, oh man, Uncle Terry lives in Townsville. Yeah. He goes, you can stay there. And I was like, boom, let's go. And I said, you come, And then he goes, yep, no worries. So we went down, and then he was like my safety blanket, Big John. He'd come down, 2 years older than me. We stayed at Uncle Terry's house, but Cowboys, they put us up at Laverick Barracks. And we did a camp, and it went for ages, man. It felt like forever. Yeah. We did this camp, let's say a week. We did the camp. They give you all this cool gear, and I was like, oh, this is all right. Food everywhere. I was like, this is amazing. And then at the end of the camp, we did they have a game, and they would split, man, and the age groups were big different. So you had boys from PNG. They looked like they were 30. Yeah. They'd say all these players they had in these camps, and they'd split us up and we bashed each other, man, for like 4 quarters. So I remember being 13, turning 14, playing against these guys, and I remember it just being brutal. Yeah. And they split it up into quarters. Yeah. And and it was just brutal, like, because everyone playing, the hype was there. You're playing like in a club, and you just spent all week training, and then you went out and we just bashed each other. Anyway, so at the end of that, they had a dinner up at the old stadiums, where they have that club area. Yeah. And I remember bringing John in, and he and I were just chowing down, man. I'm thinking, this was great, this is awesome. And they were reading something out, and I don't take any notice. And then they said my name. They were like, oh, John Rowbotham, we're going to award you a scholarship and everything. And John's like, oi, they're calling you, man. I was like, oh, yeah, she'd be right,
Halfway through, I don't even know you were. I'm just there for the free
man, we were hungry, man. Like, we used to eat like it was our last meal, like, we were hungry. So I was like, Bruss, get everything, And he's like, they're calling you, lad. And I was like, oh, yep. So bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to go up. And then they give me this letter, and they said, congratulations, scholarship. And I was like, no idea what it meant, So I didn't know parents there or anything. John was there. And afterwards, one of the coaches, it was Murray Hurst. Murray Hurst comes over and says, so you know what this means, young fella? Like, you aware what's going on here? And I'm like,
I've played league for 8, 9, 10 months or something.
I was like, nah. He goes, you got to behave yourself, because like basically he's like telling me, you got to behave yourself. There's potential that, this could turn into something for you. And I was like, oh, yeah. Eating up, and off I went. So I had it was like a 2-year scholarship. As I remember it, it was a 2-year scholarship type thing. Back to Innisfail, thought I was king shit. I was like,
a little spring in your step.
Boom, right, I got a cowboy shirt,
Little spring,
Yeah, and
chain and gears.
Yeah, I came out under 14s, worst year of my life.
Oh, really?
It was terrible, man. And that was because of that attitude.
Yeah.
You know, I came out.
Didn't have that fire as much to prove yourself.
I did, but I thought I was King Dingling.
Yeah,
and I was
true.
getting sent off every game, and I was like not playing well, and I was fiery, and I was fighting when you still could have the bit. Yeah. Nothing was going well. Made the Innisfail
that's
rep
interesting,
side,
eh?
didn't make North Queensland. Everyone's like, well, I thought, it was just a pipe dream, you know. And so it wasn't until Carlo Costa was one of the men I attribute my career, like the beginning of my career to, and Mr. Lee scared me straight, man.
Was he a coach? Something?
Yeah, coach. Italian man, Innisfail guy. So Mr. Lee was under 13s, Carlo was under 14s. Mr. Lee was like the nurturing type.
Yeah.
So I never had a dad, right? I had footy coaches.
Yeah, yep.
So he was like nurturing, nice, you know, come on, you're right. Carlo, get the fucking
Oh, true. Put the wind up your ass.
Yes.
Proper fucking.
Yeah, and scary, like Italian man, you know.
Yep.
Big quads on him still. didn't mind like the, you know, he'd knew everybody, knew his footy, and he was affiliated with the Cowboys, I believe, at the time. Carlo, if I got that wrong. You know, because he's got a bit of sour taste in his mouth, football related stuff.
Yeah.
And but man, I was in Babinda, and people out there could probably attribute to this story. I was in Babinda under 14s. Frank Mitchell, shout out Frank Mitchell. Frank only had a thumb on one hand.
Fuck yeah.
One of the best refs in NQ, and I don't do this as a piss take, but when I was young and brash, you know, I used to hang a lot of shit on Frank, you know, and his son was my idol, you know, Michael Mitchell. But Frank sent me off one day, but I was giving him cheek on the field, and I got a penalty, and I was like, oh, what are you going to do? Give me 6 or something, you know? And he fucking sent me, man. Eh? He goes, come here. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Point with that thumb, eh?
You know, and shout out Frankie Mitchell, man. Like, he and I went at it a few times, you know, and mate, he put me in my spot. So he sent me to, again, I was getting sent off a lot. So I went off to Babinda dressing sheds, and I vandalised the joint, eh? Yeah, broke it down.
Ran 'em up.
Bashed it, yeah.
Just
smashed
raging,
things
eh?
up. I did.
Yeah.
I did. And I cost someone a lot of money, you know. I'm not proud of it. But in comes Carlo, and, you know, Carlo's, come on, man, we've got to take you to Cairns to play 14s. So I'd always play 13s. And then Carlo would hang around, take me and Bowie up to play
Next grade up.
14s,
Yep.
you know. He's come in, man, and he's like, what the fuck, you know, and I just remember it. I remember it like this. I was crying, sobbing mess, highly emotional kid. I'd done some damage to the dressing shed, and yeah, man, he pulled me on, and I thought, oh, his man's gonna flog me, like man bash me, you know?
Yep.
And he's like, you think you're tough, you think you're this, you think you're that, mate. He just bombed me he went red in the face. Scary man.
Yep.
You know.
Got up in your grill.
Oh yeah, man. Had me like, you know.
Yep. Yep.
You want to punch things? How about you punch things and hit fucking back? And I was like, yep. Like, you know. And he's like, you don't know what you've done here. And then just went down a barrage of just like all the talent in the world. You got to get your attitude sorted. What the hell are you doing with yourself? Blah, blah. And I was like, yep. Get in the fucking car. Like, and I'm sitting in the back seat. And he's still going at me, man, in the rearview mirror. And he's looking in. And I'm like, not making eye contact. And he's like, what? What'd you say? And I was like, nothing, man. Nothing, you know. And very tense ride to Cairns. And then we got to Cairns and played well, man. 3 tries. I remember scoring, you know. But it was that moment. That was a crossroad moment.
Little kick up the ass you needed.
Oh, little brother. It was. It scared me, man.
Yeah,
it scared me, but scared me straight.
That's awesome. That's
lot of
good.
people need
that is
that, eh?
100%.
If you did that to a kid now, you'd probably find yourself in a fair bit of strife.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for it.
Yep.
You know,
I think a lot of people do need that. Yeah.
That was a defining moment. 15s came out. 15s, I was a different kid.
Yep.
15s come out, man. It was right out. Let's play, and it was. We did Peninsula and Cairns. We won the comp there. From there was Queensland side.
Yep.
You know, under 15s. So I'm like, yep, here we go. And
So you made not just North Queensland this year.
Oh, well, schoolboys footy was Peninsula.
Yep.
So NQ was club football.
Yeah, okay.
And then Peninsula was school-based footy. So that's
Yep.
where you had
Yeah.
Peninsula was Cairns, like up top area,
Yep.
whereas Townsville was your northern.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's when Queensland schoolboys happened.
Yep.
But it was my attitude, man, completely different.
Yep.
It was like play hard, play hard as you want, play as fair as you want, learn how to lose, and understand that, just control that rage.
Use it to your advantage.
And it did, man. It helped me, And if it was Peninsula, it was Queensland, and then under 15s, I had a Australian side, a merit side, so I made that.
Fuck yeah.
And it was myself and Big Charlie Webb, Big Carl Webb.
Yeah,
we played
true.
together, so that was the beginning of a new sort of, I guess, a new outlook
person,
outlook on the footy. But that's what was then things started to really.
When did you move to
Traverse,
Kerwin? Down here and went to Kerwin I.
The following year, so
16.
that was 96 was 15s.
Yep.
Sort of reinvented myself in terms of attitude. 97 was the Super League year.
Oh, okay.
So that was when the Cowboys were like, rightio, we're serious now. You got to move down here. Old girl's like, you're not going down there. I said, well, bud, I'm going. Like this, there's nothing for me here.
Yep.
I said, garbage bag over the
Do you
shoulder.
know anyone down here?
No, man. No, I knew footy coaches and just through footy, but I didn't know anyone personally,
No
to come
friends or
down.
nothing,
So Cowboys moved me down. They did what they call a homestay program at that time. So families would sign up.
They set everything up for you.
Oh, sort of. Families would
Yeah.
sign up and say, all right, we'll take on a player. And the Cowboys would pay them some board.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
I burned out the first family, and I just wasn't a good fit. And I was mostly to blame. Mostly, not all.
Yeah, okay.
But I moved in with a family, and I came from Innisfail, which was a bit more of a rough around the edges.
I get it.
And home life wasn't very stable. So and then here was, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I know.
Asking a bit
I know
much.
exactly
Putting
what
the
you're talking
shackles
about.
on me,
Yep.
and they meant well. They were a lovely family. They meant well, but they just it wasn't working out,
Yep.
And I went missing a few times, and
Yep.
it was kind of like, ooh. And the Cowboys were reading me the riot act, like, you got to pull your head in, man. You're going to ruin this opportunity. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care,
Yeah.
Went back to, I went and they put me with another family out at Kelso. And she was a single mum, 4 boys.
Perfect.
And
There you go.
it was, man.
There
And
you
these
go.
boys, one of them was my age, still mates with him today. Shout out Dion Burgess.
Yep.
And his 3 brothers. Nathan Burgess was a Hockeroo. He was a goalkeeper.
man.
Yeah, he was an Olympian, is what you say.
yeah.
So he was goalkeeper for
Fucking mad.
men's hockey side.
Townsville fellow, good on
Yeah, in the Olympics. And then the 2 brothers, Aaron and Justin, they were away. They toured a lot, like I traveled and stuff. But that's where I settled in, man. And old Beth, what a lady, tough as nails, very hard-headed. I call her hard-head.
Man,
But,
single
it'd
mum,
be-
4 boys.
Yes.
Hats off
In
to
Kelso back
In
in the
Kelso,
day.
bro.
Back then,
In Kelso.
In Kelso. They just put me out, whoop, whoop. So you stay out there.
You'll fit in there.
You're
Yeah.
stuck.
You stay out there, and it worked well, man. I played, just with my newfound attitude, my momentum I had, footy was working out well. Super League was a great year, a lot of money in the game. We had the same itinerary as first grade, so every time,
Okay. It all matched.
everywhere they went, we went.
Oh, cool.
No,
so
that's
they
good
had
they
like
do
a
that.
first grade reserve grade 19s, 17s, and we all had the
So you
same
were playing 17s?
17s.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
I was
awesome.
the lock forward for the 17s.
That's good they do that.
Yeah, right.
Because then give you
Yeah.
something to look up for, like,
Oh, it
what
was
you're
good,
getting
man.
yourself
We were reading, what the rugby league magazines, when still magazines were a thing.
Yeah.
You'd see your name in there, like, oh, yeah.
Fuck, yeah, that's
and,
cool.
And the coach didn't realise that the magazine come out before he'd announced the side.
Oh, jeez.
So we'd always like, oh, yeah, fuck, I'm playing.
Was it always right, though? Imagine getting named thinking,
Yeah,
fuck
maybe
yeah.
there
and
might have
then-
been some
G'd up for
changes,
it.
man. But I played regularly, which was, so I just looked for myself. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm in, good. Everything's good.
And you were still locked, number 13?
I was 13,
Yep.
man, yeah. So I got player of the year that year at the Cowboys. That was a good year, set 97. But this is when also Kerwin footy was going pretty hard.
Yeah.
Far out, man. So I went from, I don't know how many kids were at Innisfail, let's say 500, give or take. Kerwin's 2,000.
That's insane.
Jungle
huge
of the
school.
school. But my best years of school were Kerwin, man.
Were they?
Yeah, man. Like, Livo was the principal.
Couldn't
Shout-
comprehend that. That's so many. I went to a small school too.
Oh, man,
I
it
couldn't
just-
comprehend that many people.
Well,
eh?
man, look, I'm not going to lie, right? Footy players, they did get favoured.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I didn't complain.
Yep.
I was
You
like,
don't have to go to as many classes.
Yeah.
and-
well, sort of, you know what I mean? It was
Yep.
basically, you come and play for us. I nearly ended up at Iggy.
Should have went Iggy.
Well, I was going there, man. Brother Grundy.
Yeah, Brother Grundy probably was
You know,
there. Brother Hanson
see,
or-
it's a
yeah.
principal thing, right? So I didn't. This is like a principal thing. So when I mean principal, I mean the principals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Livo and this guy at Iggy. 1 minute I'm going to Iggy Park. It would have been good for me, probably, you know, the way I was. So I was going to Iggy. The old girl, that was her last hurrah. She's like, nah, he's going to co-ed school, you know. And they were like, are you serious? Oh, this would be good for him. She's like, nah, I don't know what her reasons were. I don't know. I think it was foreign to her.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, he's going to co-ed school. And that was the sliding door thing. And then I think there was a bit of strings pulled in the background by the coach, Tig Tanowski and Livo. They were like, no, this Rowbotham kid's coming to us.
Yep.
You know, and there might have been a expensive bottle of wine exchange.
Playing tug of war.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh, okay.
That's like the third party deals in school. For
Yeah. I didn't know my fate was being like dangled up above me, you know. So I ended up at Kerwin.
Well, that's a good thing.
Kerwin was a good school. A lot of good players came from Kerwin, you know, before and after me. But
me and my mates, because I went to Iggy, heap of my mates went to Kerwin, and we're sort of our core group of mates are split between the two. And we're always doing team lists up, and we've named it, you know, the best team from Kerwin, best team from Iggy. The amount of people from both them that
Blow your mind.
have played NRL.
yeah, man.
But a lot of the lads that go to Kerwin and some of the older boys I know, the amount of people, everyone, NRL, a lot of them will still put your name in the best ever Kerwin team.
Yeah,
you know,
that's,
which is crazy to think of. With you got people in the back row like,
Oh, mate,
you know,
yeah,
Jason
Friday,
Tomlolo went there, Sammy Thaiday,
Sammy
then
Faust.
I ended up going there.
Then
Sammy
I, really?
Faust.
Yeah, man. Lukey Harlan, Sammy Faust,
Yeah.
Sam Thaiday, Michael Luck was there.
Well,
Aaron Payne, bro.
Yeah.
Aaron Payne,
Payne,
you know. So they had, Sammy Faust. I said Sammy Faust. R.I.P. Sammy Faust. Top dude, man. We had, but yeah, Kerwin, and there was Stevie Goodhue was another one, you know. Names I'm just off the top of my head here. But yeah, Kerwin had a big rugby league following.
push for it,
Iggy
yep.
probably didn't have the league
then,
back then.
Yeah, okay.
It come
come
after.
a bit later.
Because
Yeah.
being that private school, like rugby union was a bit
Union
bigger
was a
back
big
then, I
one.
think. But then later on, league got bigger and
Definitely, man.
started competing. And,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
stuff.
Well, I think one of the main rivals now is Kerwin.
Yeah,
Kerwin
definitely.
Iggy, you know.
Yep.
So yeah,
you
man,
got picked for
Kerwin.
Australia that year then?
So
17?
97, no, 97 was Super League year.
Yep.
But I did make Queensland Schoolboys Opens as a 16-year-old.
Yep. Yep.
That was awesome. And in the Queensland side were guys like Brad Myers, who's, I don't know if
Yeah,
you
Big Red. Yeah, Big Red.
Yeah, Dane Carlaw.
Yeah.
Chris Walker.
yeah.
These guys were, they were, and man, I was in awe of these guys. Yeah, Chris had made Australia as a 16-year-old the year before.
Yeah, right.
You know, so there was blokes in there like Mark Shillington, Mark Ecott. I'm sure I'm missing some blokes that went on and played. Craig Frawley.
Yeah, I remember him.
Am I saying that right? Is it
Played
Chris
for
Frawley or
Canberra.
Craig Frawley?
Yeah, Craig Frawley.
Yeah,
Played
I'm
for Bronx.
pretty sure Craig Frawley was in there, man. Bevan Costello, shout out Bevan Costello. He made it a fair few years. So that was that year. And then 98, man. 98, so a lot of footy being played. 98 was a big year. 98
Was that your first proper Australian team, eh?
Yeah, 98 was a big year. 98 was just a big year period for football. Not a lot of school got done. I worked it out one year. I worked it out that year alone, man. I played 80-something games. Why do I know that? Because that was at the end of that, I had my first shoulder done.
Yeah, right.
And you look back on the year, and it would have been 80-plus games of rugby league.
Wow.
So you throw into that on an average 1 to 2, maybe 3 training sessions per game.
Fuck, that's a lot of volume, eh?
Hell
no
yeah.
wonder something happened, you know,
Yeah.
shoulder.
So yeah, man. Schoolboys was awesome. That was the New Zealand side.
Yep.
Piggy,
Did they come over here or you?
No,
toured
we
there? You
toured.
went to New Zealand.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick.
And how old were you? 16, 17?
so this was 17.
Yeah.
So this was my year, like with
Yeah.
my people.
That would
you
have been a
know?
cool experience.
Oh, bro,
Being a
it
young
was
fella.
amazing, man. It was amazing. We got touched up in as Queensland. We used to get touched up by the schoolboys. So in that Queensland side was testing me here. Myself, obviously, there was a bloke named Chris Muckett. Mucky went on to play a fair bit of league. Hodjo was in there. Justin and I were good mates all through rep footy. You know, he was Cairns, I was in Aspire. We with an NQ thing. You know, we stayed pretty tight. Who at 97? Ash Harrison was in the side. He went on to play a fair bit of footy. Who else was in there? It'll come as I keep talking.
Yep.
But we got touched up a fair bit, and then made the Aussie side, and then we went away to New Zealand for like four weeks. That was awesome, man. We won We won convincingly against the Kiwi boys.
Yep.
They were big,
They would have been
big
Would have been a
boys.
big level up.
A lot
for
of
you.
heart, a lot of passion, man.
Yep.
They played fierce. I think we just had the fitness.
Yeah,
and
Roger.
maybe a little bit more skills.
bit more technicality.
Yeah,
Yep.
But it was a good tour, man. It was a good tour.
Fuck, that would have been fun. 17 years old.
Yeah,
Just going
overseas.
first trip going to
yeah,
or anything.
Yeah, it was,
Let alone
man. It
football.
was really, really good.
Especially with a group of mates. Or a group
Oh,
of,
bro, that Aussie side, like
Yeah.
everyone went on about the '99 side. That '98 side was it was pretty top notch. Man.
Yeah, I
like
think-
there was Mark Gasnier was in there, Hodjo was in there, Junior Lange was in there, Brett Kite was in there. Everyone pretty much went on to play first grade. The ones who didn't were injured.
Yeah.
You know, who else was in there? Oh, Lukey Burt, long career playing Parramatta.
Yeah, on the sting, goal kicking.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Well, he in the schoolboys footy, Luke would always be the one scoring the winning try against us, Queensland. It's like, yeah. So we made friendships through the footy just because I'll see you next year. It's like, yeah, we'll get you.
yeah. That's how it is, eh?
So yeah, man.
Moving on to that next year. Is it? I read something here. Is this? We got an actual fact checker here. Is it true you got? Because you said you at the end of '98 you got your shoulder surgery.
Yes.
But did you not play a game all year, and then you got picked for Queensland?
Yes, that's correct. That's real.
So fuck, they obviously thought pretty highly of you to not play a single game. and
Oh,
still
we
pick
did
you
something
all.
pretty. We did something a bit cheeky there.
Yeah, right. Fill us in.
I had the '98 at the end of '98, big year. Had the surgery.
Yeah.
I was at preseason training for Cowboys, and then the shoulder kept getting hurt. But I just thought, oh, it'll heal. It was like one of those. It wasn't like an event where it was like, oh, it just hurt and it'd come good.
A niggling
So
injury.
I've been nursing that
Yeah.
all year.
Yep.
Anyway, staff was like, what's going on there? Long story short, sent me for away, got scans done. He needs a reco. I was like, reconstruction. I was like, yep, cool, let's get it done. Got the recon, come back far too early. I'll probably come back first game back was like 5 months or so.
Yeah.
But the person I was living with, so from the Kelso, I'd made a great relationship with a man at Kerwin who loved his footy, Kevy Butler. He was like, why don't you come live with me and my wife, Helen? They're in Kerwin, they were closer.
Yep.
So that was an awesome thing. I would not, disclaimer here, I would not take a 16-year-old Johnny Rowe into my house. I'm a father now, and I'm a husband now.
Not even in the front yard.
So
eh?
shout out Kevy and Helen, taking me on and basically giving me that, as a kid, always what I've always wished for, mum, dad at home, very, very safe, very, very, stable. It was perfect.
Big heart, big
yeah,
hearts.
yeah.
Yep.
So I was living with Kevy at the time, had the injury, so rehabbing from the surgery. And I think it was his idea, man, because I wouldn't have thought of it. He goes, why don't you write a letter to Queensland Secondary Schools Rugby League? And I went, saying what? Saying that you're available. And I went,
Yeah, right.
go on then. I was like, right, eh?
Fucking initiative there, eh?
I think Kevy and Helen wrote the letter.
You just signed it.
I'm just like, yeah, put that in. Like, yeah. But it was basically, I knew, we worked it out that I was going to be, technically I was going to be available
Good to come back just as it's
to
kicked
play
off.
for Queensland, but I would miss trials. So to make Queensland, you got to go through regular, regional, and then you make Northern,
Yep.
and then
all the
Yeah.
all the hoops.
so and by this time, I guess I'd already had a bit of a resume. I had a fair few Queensland jerseys, couple of Aussie jerseys, and I guess a reputation. I say that in quotation marks.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sent this letter, man. And I'm in the Cowboys club. I'm in the training in the gym, Cowboys gym. Paul Heppenstall comes in. Johnny Rowe, you got a phone call. He's like, who is it? Bloke named Dave Seeley. I was like, oh, bullshit. And he's like, no, I'm serious. So I'm running through the gym and then still got the old landline, I was like, Seeley. He's like, hey, Johnny. Hey, go on, mate. What's going on? He goes, feel like throwing on a maroon jersey again? I was
Yeah,
like,
good.
fuck yeah.
That's just initiative, eh? Paid
Yeah,
off.
I got a bit of backlash, but not
Other
me.
people getting shitty because they've been.
picking
you. Yeah, bro,
There's
yeah.
always the.
There was some, in
tall
that,
poppy syndrome.
in
eh?
that footy,
Everyone always
in that
trying to
footy
fucking-
space.
Trying to rip someone else down.
Yeah, well, in the
Yeah.
footy space, the teachers, it was mainly teachers. He can't do that. He didn't try. So and so should be in. Blah, 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 blah. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going. So
Yeah.
the next day, I think I'd played one game of rugby league before I went for
Yep.
brothers A grade. The shoulder held up okay, and then I was down there and
Straight into it. Fuck.
Yeah,
Throw him in
yeah.
the deep end. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I could go for ages, man. There's stories everywhere. I walked into the side. There was Palm Beach. So in this team, you got Lucky, you got Hodjo, Corey Parker was there, Mango, Matty Bowen was in there.
Yeah.
So my lads were like, hey, what's up? North Queensland boys come
Yeah.
over. And then So there's a fair few North Queensland boys. Kieran Quagliotto, Jay Donald, R.I.P. Big Jade. Those boys were in there, so I felt very at home. Anyway, but there was a couple of boys. Brizzy boys weren't happy. You know? And I remember one story in particular. We were in bunks in the room, and it's night, so you can't see. But we're just talking shit as boys do, you know.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here, Johnny." A couple of local boys, and then one bloke goes, "Yeah, and I wasn't too glad to hear that you were coming in the side."
True.
And I was like, "Oh, well, man, you know, that's the way it is. It's just like, you know, we're all a team." I was trying to be the humble guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, and then I remember saying to one of my mates, "Who's this? What's fucking my mate's problem here? Like, tell him calm down." Like,
Stole my mate's spot or something.
well, I think this dude had a green and gold jersey inside and probably saw me as a bit of a threat.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Corey Parker.
Oh,
yeah. So Parks probably remembers it differently. But he said clear as day, man. He said, "Yeah, I wanted to impress you in the side." Yeah. And I was like, fair enough, you know. And then he had his own goals. But yeah, Parks and I ended up being pretty good mates. Being going away touring Aussies together.
But yeah, I was going to say, you both made that Australian team, eh?
We did,
Because
yeah.
the list there, you've named some of them already, but that
Parks
Australian
got the 14, I got the 11.
Nice.
So,
That 99 Australian team, and reading up on this, people still say it's the greatest Aussie schoolboy team ever. Had guys like Corey Parker, Jamie Lyon, Braithen Astor, Mark Gasnier, Justin Hodges, Brent Tate, Mark
Brent
Minicello,
Tate, fuck yeah.
Anthony Quinn,
Tatey.
Shane Tronk, Adam Woolnough, Michael Luck.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Like-
Well, Tatey didn't even make the so he made the squad. They took away 26 of us. Tatey didn't even make the
Final cut.
the top 17 for the two tests.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You know. And then went on to have an amazing career.
Yep.
Someone who should have made that side that wasn't in it, and I have to say it, man, was Matt Bowen, man.
Yeah,
Oh, true.
100%,
Really?
bro. Matty, I'd never played against Matty much. He was Abagary. I was always injured or off somewhere else. But Matty, man, was that
He's
freak.
the man.
Was he?
Fuck, he's
Raz.
deadly.
It'd be Abagary 30, Kerwin nil, you know, and it'd be Matty and
scored.
Brenton.
Yeah.
Matty and Brenton and Big Palmer Wappe up the front.
Yeah, yeah.
But then Matt was
Just ran him up.
Oh, bro,
Just
it's
good move.
Like,
Good
you
move.
knew he was gonna step.
Yeah.
You know it. Here it comes.
Still ankle breaking.
But he had an amazing carnival for Queensland.
Yep.
And man, there was videotapes getting around. You could hear the crowd going. When Matty'd get the ball, you'd hear the crowd shit himself.
Yeah.
Oh no, here he goes again.
Oh, fuck.
He teared it up.
Was he
man.
playing in the halves
Unreal.
during school or still at one?
He was mostly halves.
Yeah.
He got well in the rep space. He got moved around a bit, and he was anywhere from wing, fullback, halves. But Matty had that super friggin' touch player dummy on him.
Yep.
The
Yep.
lightning speed, you know, the kick chase, right? And he'd embarrass you.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
and he
So
did it.
quick.
Man, he should have made that side.
Yeah, unreal.
He 100% should have made that. Matty Bones should have been a 99 schoolboy.
Yep.
You know, because the fact that he didn't would have been just political stuff.
Yeah, right.
But
you-
that was an awesome trip.
Yeah,
too.
you ended up touring England, France, and Ireland, eh?
We did, man.
Fuck, how deadly was that, hey? So
that
we
was-
used 18 at this 17, 18.
Yeah, I was turning 18, so I repeated school.
Yeah.
So 98 was
You
my
must
year.
be real smart then, eh?
Wow.
Extra year of learning.
Well, it might have been Kevy. I don't know if much learning got done. Well, that was someone said that you'd be available for Queensland, you know, 99. I went, oh, that'd be cheeky. Anyway,
Yeah.
and that story happened, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, off we went and went off to be one of the captains of the Australian side, which was amazing. And that side, like you voiced out, mate, everyone in the side played first grade, apart from guys that got injured.
I think I read there was you and one other guy.
There was myself.
tragic.
I don't remember Arthur Little. Was he 98, 99? Luke Brannigan was probably one of the best football brains I'd ever played with. Yeah. He was the he only had a handful of games, but that dude was playing well beyond his years. Like he just had the IQ, man. Like amazing. Braithen Astor was in the side. I thought that dude was the next Brad Fittler, the way he played. And then the side itself, you never think, oh, you know, you don't look at him and go, well, he's going to be a superstar. Yeah. Except for maybe Gaz. Gaz definitely had that aura about him, like, oh, and I think maybe because of the name.
Yeah,
You know, and then he,
old man.
It would have been a
player.
fair bit of weight for him to
Yeah.
carry, but he
It
carried
would
it
be.
well. And
Yep.
look what you know, that dude was a freak,
Yeah.
you know. So, and then Hodjo was overweight. True. The year before, Hodjo made the side in 98, but he was big, man. Hodgie was always a big dude, but he was overweight. He was carrying injuries. He come back 99, man. He was the Hodjo that,
Yep.
you know, was freak. He's lean,
That took off.
fast, quick, ball playing. You know, it was awesome, man. But the trip itself was amazing. There was massive punch-ons.
The pommies.
Yeah. Are you referring to the article that came out not long ago? About a year or so ago?
I have seen
They were
that.
writing about that. It was Fox League.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on night shift and we were just talking shit on night shift, and I've said to my team leader, I was looking up something. We're doing, I'm gonna fact check you.
Yeah, right.
And along my feed come the Fox League, and it said 99 schoolboys, you know, greatest team ever. And I'm like, that was my era.
Was it fresh at the time, or
It was a surprise to me.
Yeah,
it wasn't like someone said,
seen it.
"Oh man, check this out." So I stumbled upon it.
Oh, you just stumbled across it.
I
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
and I was like, "What? That's me. I know that." And boom, hit it up. All of a sudden, big article about the side, you know, and I was like, "Oh man," I just went straight back there. Like, I was like, "Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that was cool. Oh, that was mad."
Proper nostalgia. Did it cover it pretty well? Was it pretty
Yeah,
accurate?
it did, man. And I was just I was like, "What?" And I was just thinking, "What's motivated this? Like, where's this coming from?" And I don't know. It just was like the
Yeah, just
99
popped
side.
up fucking all these years
Yeah.
later.
And it had a bit of buzz about it, and you know, the Facebook. I don't have socials, so like blokes were like, "Man, look at this, look." I was like, "Yep, that's all real, man. It all happened. It was legit." You know, it was good, just a good time, man. Good
So
era.
what were some deadly spots you went to over there?
We thought we were going to Paris. We didn't go to Paris. We went to some place called Limoux.
Yeah.
I think it was like some third world France. You know, it was like backwards France, man. That's how I remember it
proper G
anyway.
up.
We're like, oh, we're going to see some cool French shit. And then I was like, oh. We walked in, it's like looked like we were in like a little hostel, man. You know, like
Gonna get your kidneys taken.
yeah, man. The light was hanging down from the roof. No lampshade, just light bulb on the end of the cord. We're just like, oh,
this shit, eh?
you know, the budget must have been on this one. But so France was nice. We sort of saw some like big castles, old heritage stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but we were young, man. Boys just wanted to party. You
Yep.
know, there were
Drink.
some funny stories. Yeah, there was a few sneakies in there. You know, the year before, but a couple of us were of age. One
That's
funny
dangerous,
story is
surely.
the main road coming into town got blocked off. Someone put roadblocks there from our team.
Oh, right.
So we were like, oh shit, we're in the shit, you know. And Greery was the coach, and he was brutal. And so he was like, you need to own up to this now, or else. And we're like, what's he gonna do? We're in France. We're gonna fly out, like, you know.
Send you home.
We got into a room, and all of us were in there, and I was kind of like leading the charge, and I was like, boys, what are we going to do here? Like, you know, we're in the shit here. We're all laughing. It was funny because they blocked the whole road, man. Like, you know, them big waterfield, sandfield things.
Yeah.
So I don't know who it was to this day. I don't know who it was. But they blocked the roads out, man. Have bloody council had to come out, I think. And,
Create a big traffic jam.
oh, bros, it caused an issue. It got reported, right?
Yeah.
And so we were in there, and then I think Brano just said, well, we don't say nothing and we all just cop it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, yep, let's all just cop it, you know. So we all did. Fuck, we copped it.
What, they just train yard? Or?
Hard
Till
training.
we spewed, man.
Yeah,
we just copped
yep.
it. But, you know, no one owned up. Everyone just sat like that,
That's good.
you know.
Stitches get stitches.
Yeah. We just took it, man. But,
Fuck yeah.
So there was France. There was a game in France. I think the score was ridiculous. It was like cricket score, 70 or something. I don't know off the top of my head. Then we went on to play a couple of invitational sides. So there was like 6 weeks travel. There was, I think, 10 games, 12 games scheduled. The 2 games you wanted to be in were the tests.
Yeah.
And it was, I think the reason this side gets a bit of more of a nod than the others, because Australian schoolboy history is long, man. It's deep and old and it's long. But the reason I believe this one gets the nod is it's the first time, I believe, that England, Ireland and France had fielded a side equivalent to us.
They were stacked.
Yeah, right.
They had good teams as well.
Yeah, it used to be Aussies would go on a tour and
Whitewash
flog
them.
everybody.
Yeah.
I think this was the first
So
time.
built up a bit of fucking.
Yeah,
bit
it
of
was. They were like, "Nah, man, we're
hype
coming
to
for
it.
the Aussies this time."
Yeah.
So it had that bit more of a like stamp on, like, "Nah, this is for real this time."
Yep.
We're sick of getting touched up. So all the players in the English side were contracted to Super League clubs,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure they were older. Like they weren't like they were like a year on us.
Yeah.
And man, they were like, you know, like I told you about the Eacham story.
Yeah,
I was like that again. Like
2.0, yeah.
what? And we had big guys in our team, man. And they just dwarfed these guys.
Yeah.
Mate, they were massive.
20-year-old playing them?
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
man. I don't
Under 20s,
know.
under 21s or something?
Well, they were all Super League contracted boys.
Yeah.
And man, and they all went on, like a lot of those boys went on to have good careers over in their respective competition.
Wait, it's tough over there. Eh? I think a lot of the English players, except the ones who come over, obviously Burgess, James Graham, a lot of the others, they don't get as much recognition.
They're tough,
because
man.
Super League.
Well, they love soccer
isn't-
so much over there, maybe.
And I think just the Super League comp isn't looked at as good as NRL, but it's fucking tough.
It is, man, and it's hard. Like
They got a lot
boys-
of good players.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. The games, because there was a lot of passion in these games, man. It was brutal, and it
Yep.
did, man. There was fights that broke out.
Yep.
One fight that happened, I'm pretty sure it was the first game. Maybe it was a punch-on started, and this is when punch-ons were still allowed.
Yep.
So we're punching on, and an old lady ran out into the field, and I remember it. And this is just coming out like I don't know what she was going to do.
Trying to break it up.
Yeah, but turns out she was the grandmother of one of the English boys. Wow, we got a hold of that, didn't we? And then second game, it had to be the first game. Second game, we were just into him. Here
Where's your grandma?
That's it.
Where's Nana?
Here comes grandma now, bud. Like, all right, you know, like what's Nana going to do now for you? Like, you know. So yeah, classic Aussies.
Yeah.
We just got an edge on him. You know, he didn't have a very good game, but there's a big biff, man, big stifle biff. They freaking apparently there was video footage. The video footage got lost, you know, and then so the first game was like 24-6 or something. Second game was like
You beat them 24-6?
yeah,
Yep.
but the second game we only won by 2. So they did their homework, man, and they come out. Yeah, and it was just brutal, good brutal footy. You know,
How are the crowds?
yeah, man. They're English, hey.
Yeah.
So they love their
rowdy,
sports,
yeah.
man.
Any live sport, they rock
They
up, start
yeah.
fucking drinking,
They
cheering.
love it.
Oh, they do, man.
Singing.
Good, amazing crowds.
Yeah, man, it was good. A great experience. That was my first Red Bull experience over there. We went on in the first game. No one ever heard of Red Bull. Well, I hadn't heard of Red Bull. End of the first half of the first game, they sort of corral you off the field together. So you kind of like, you know, you're heated, you want to kill each other, and they go, right, all formal, you know, English, let's go. And then as we're peeling off into our dressing shed, their staff has boxes going into there. So, you know, you're kind of going in and you're like
You're
watching.
watching, what the
like,
fuck's
what
this
the
shit?
fuck is that? What's that? What's going on there? They come out, man, psychotic. They just come out. I remember them just being, come on, fucking, let's fucking go. Yeah, like full hooligan, man. And I'm just thinking,
Juiced them up with Red Bull.
yeah. After the game, man, we're swapping the jersey thing. We're our arms around each other. It's all good, all love, you know, all out in the paddock. I said to one of the guys, I was like, bro, what the fuck was that going in? Fucking Red Bull, man. Like, you never had some? Like, nah, bud, nah. And he's like, fuck yeah, hell. Like, you know, and he come back, he had a couple of cans, and that's when they were the little 250 mil. They hadn't gone to freaking.
Yeah.
We're punching that, eh? And then we went out. First time the Jaeger friggin' bombed because that's like Red Bull. Heart attack shit, you know.
Fuck yeah.
But that was my first introduction to Red Bull. I was like, no wonder you fucking just
Good
losing
second
it.
half, eh? They were always better the second half.
Oh, yeah, man. They just come out,
win,
hopped up. Well, that's when the Blues were all on, you know. And they just come. I just remember them amped. Let's fucking go. Yeah, good experience. The whole trip was good experience, man. And seeing that article just brought it all back.
Yep, the old
It's in a
nostalgia
good way.
feels.
Yeah, man. It's good to see them boys go and have good careers. Yeah.
What
man.
about after that sort of finishing school, finishing that tour and stuff, and then expected, I suppose, to move on to
Yeah. Well,
bigger
that was
things and
yeah, man. Well, things took a dark turn, didn't they? When I come back from the second, that was the end of '99.
Yeah.
I had hurt my shoulder again. I knew it was
The same
hurt.
shoulder?
Same one.
Same one.
So I was like, right, let's go. Let's have a surgery. Like, had another surgery.
You just tanked it through it, and you
Yeah,
just,
well, I had another surgery, so it was
Yep.
that was the second one.
Yep.
And then from there, man, I mean, I guess you could say, like, you know, I come back, I played some half decent footy, but the shoulder, that was basically the steady decline
Yep.
of me short-lived footy career.
Yep.
Because at the end of every time I would sort of gain momentum at the club, mainly Cowboy at the club now, because basically schoolboy footies are behind me. I really got to get into this club footy stuff,
Yep.
and then. Every time I'd get some momentum, man, I'd get a game under me belt, first division, or I'd be in the mix, you know, I'd be in the talk, I'd be in the conversation again, boom, shoulder, you know, just be like, righto. So come back from the second shoulder, momentum going again, and then there was an event at training. We were training at Iggy Park. We just had using the paddock. There was an event We were doing a contact drill. I got contacted across my left arm, and I got the old scar. I got like, it's not just keyhole; it was the old scar, and there was like a pinch in my shoulder, like a very sharp, acute pain. So I was like, oh shit, that hurt. But I was like, oh, so what? You know, like I want to play, so whatever. Put it on the back burner. From that, this is where basically two stories start to take place. My shoulder got infected. And that was basically the end of me. But while the infection was happening, this arm, my right arm, completely dislocated.
Oh, so yep.
So this one probably compensated a lot for the left.
Yep.
And so, you know, they were happening in tandem. So this arm, what happened was it ballooned out. I think they call it a hematoma. It basically bleeding under the skin.
Yep.
I went to a doc, a club doc, and they're looking at it, you know, doing whatever they do, and they drew blood out of it, and they were like, oh, good thing. I remember them. They said, good thing, Johnny, it's not infected. And I went, oh, sweet. Well, we'll just let it go. We'll let it heal. From then, though, not too long after, a short while after, that got infected. So did it happen when I got the needle, with drain? Was it just not
diagnosed
festered
properly,
along?
Yeah,
I don't know. But so from there, I was battling that. This arm came out playing against the Roosters.
So what are you playing at this stage? 21s,
First
young
division,
guns?
first division. So Cowboys were had a team in the first division comp,
which
is a New South Wales competition.
Yeah,
like
and that was young guns, right?
Yes,
Or,
Well, that's the only reserve grade young guns.
Yep. It was
And
like a national reserve grade comp.
Yeah. So I think we were just first division was New South Wales, and we were just in the comp.
Yeah, right.
Because they were playing somewhat of a reserve grade, you know, and so. We played against the Roosters. I went over the try line. I didn't score, held up, but old mate's just gone, boom. This arm's just come completely out.
Fully popped it.
Fully popped it, man. This one never fully dislocated. It was what they call sublux. This one fully come out. And I was just a mess. I was like, oh, man. Anyway, this one was infected at the time. I remember just being like, oh, well, that's it, you know. I healed up. I let it go for a week. And then I come back and played a local game for brothers because Cowboys they were feeding out the players to the local competition.
Yep.
Come back, I played for brothers. So this is the week after dislocated, shoulders infected. First run, I had maybe left-hand carry. First run was a palm. Old mate just got underneath it, just gone clog.
Straight away. Fuck.
Yeah. And that's when...
It sunk in straight away.
I'll never forget the hush from the crowd, man.
Oh.
You know, local crowd. People know, you know, you're in the footy circle. People know you.
Especially in Townsville.
Expecting things.
The only noise I remember was the noise of the shoulder clunking out and me howling.
Yep.
And then I remember just silence.
Yeah.
And I was like, because everyone knew, like, this might be it, you know.
Were you thinking that straight away?
Yeah,
too?
bro.
Like,
I went to a dark place straight away.
Straight
I went into the dressing shed. I couldn't come out. Highly emotional, very, very emotional.
Oh, it would have been, man.
Kevy was outside, and he's like, you coming? I'm like, oh, no, I just nah. Because I felt like walking out of the dressing shed, that'd be it. That's it. That's the last dressing shed I walk out of. So I'm just sitting in there contemplating life, bawling my eyes out.
Dark thought,
Yeah, my arms, you know, fucking shoulders are just, you're fucked. It's all fucked. You know?
Everything's fucked.
It's just terrible, you know.
and what talks with the club after that and stuff, or did it just sort of?
Oh, I fell in. It kind of went to a darker place. It was so I was still under contract, right? I still had a fair few months. I think nearly the better part of a year to go. Anyway, and I knew that the football, my shoulders was a problem, but then the infection just took over everything. So it was.
You don't want to fuck with infection, man.
Oh, bro, it was disgusting. So that infection stayed with me on my arm. We fought it. I fought it for the better part of a year.
Fuck.
So, you know, because I went down to get, would you believe, I went down to get this done. So this is already festered up now. And no, there's no real focus on it. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go, get this right arm done. I'll do the rehab. I'll come back, you know, I've got time. So they flew me down. I remember flying down. I remember going to the hospital. And they were putting this arm through what they do, assessing. Yeah. And then one of the docs is going, what's that? He pointed at this. And I said, I see nothing, man. I had like my own dressing on there. And he's like, and it was manky, man. It was like manky. And he's like, and you could smell it. And he goes, "We'll get a swab." Got a swab, come back. That's staph. You're gone. Like they just sent me packing, man. And that's when I was like, the arm's got to be fixed, you know. And I was living with Ty Williams at the time. Tybo came down. So he was Innisfail boy.
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Ty was
Oh,
Innisfail boy.
true.
He had a good career.
He did, yeah. Fuck.
And so, you know, Ty was on the up. He had his knee done. So he was rehabbing from his knee. Poor fellow, he done a knee in like pre-season. Had to miss,
First year.
poor bastard, but went on to play well. But I was living with Ty when I was battling the bloody infection. And my day would consist of, man, expressing everything out. I could push here on my chest and this would just... And I remember stitches coming out of it on one occasion, like green nylon-y looking things. Looking back on it, I'm like, this is all starting to make sense. The rip at training, the infection. So, yeah, that just went on and on and on. I did all these different antibiotics. Club was in a bad way financially. I think News Limited were around then, so club wasn't making any cash. So fringe players like myself were barely getting paid. It was the club there. Everything was just in a bad way.
Yeah.
And when you're a fringe player like myself, you're kind of like injured. You're not.
Just pushed aside.
Yeah, man. You're
at
kind
the
of like,
back.
well, you're not important to the business right now. So
yeah.
you're over there. And so, yeah, man, it was about 10 months, and it wasn't until they tried everything, man. Antibiotics, pills, potions. I had some line put in my arm. Nothing worked.
Wow.
I remember going
That's
in.
hard mentally
Yeah,
or what?
it was, man.
Super hard mentally.
Yeah, it was dark, man.
Fuck.
And it wasn't until I went and saw Murray Hurst. I went into his office. I think I made the appointment, or he made the appointment. I don't know. But they wanted to basically see me to cut me to say, you know, thanks, but no thanks. But I'd sort of been, hadn't been around the club much because of the infection. Club was going through financial troubles, and Sheens had left, and Hurst was only first grade coach for a handful of weeks, if maybe that.
Yep.
And ironically, Hursty was the one that picked me up, I believe, or took me on so many years ago as a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And then I remember going,
He's the one who had to do the...
Yeah, I remember going in, and he's just like, "Where you been?" And I was like, "What do you mean where I've been? Like, look at me, man. I was just an unhealthy mess." And I said, "Man, look at this arm." And I was in there, and he says, "What?" And I showed him. He was mortified. You know, Muz's a good guy. He was mortified. He made one phone call, man. Within days, I was down in Sydney. I had this repaired. They surgically repaired it, removed the infection, did the repair again, and I was right in 2 weeks.
Jeez.
So I was like,
They've wasted all this fucking time by just not looking after it properly.
yeah. They didn't know, man. And, you know, they didn't know. Like,
So the surgery
docs-
was never done right to begin with?
No. Well, maybe. There was an issue. Obviously, there was an
infection
issue
was so
there.
deep.
The infection was something happened. I believe my theory is something happened at that training session when I felt the rip inside.
Yep.
Maybe when old mate jabbed me with the needle to drain the blood out, that's when something's got in. You know? Man. So who knows, man? It's just a shit story. And so but I went to some pretty dark places during that time.
Oath, man.
And
I think like the physical injury is only one side of it.
yeah,
right?
the mental side.
The mental side's...
Looking back on it, well, when you're going through it, you don't think about it. You're like, you're just like day to day getting through. I had some good homies with me as well. They picked me up. But it was kind of like, fuck, am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Because I gave every part of my being to that game, you know.
And it was snowballing too, you know, obviously your career was snowballing.
And it
blowing
just,
up.
it was going well up until a point. And then all of a sudden, the infection in the shoulders, it just ruined me. But, you know, couldn't go out with a bang, had to go out like all with a whimper, sort of like. Yeah. But yeah, the arm got fixed. This arm was meant to get surgery. I never ended up having the surgery. It become / my good arm, like.
Yep.
And,
Still fucked, but they're good.
It's proper strong hand, yeah. And this one I've just basically been able to manage and nurture over the years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that was the end, man. Sadly, that was the end of it. And then it sort of went from then football finished, but like you said, like the mental side come in and shit, man. This is before social media, internet, smartphones. Yeah. So yeah, they didn't get looked in on a lot. You know, and that hurt.
Yep. How long did you like? How long did you struggle before you sort of came to grips with things and were able to, I guess, put that behind you? Or does it ever move on?
I think, you definitely,
like that.
I know what you're saying.
Always having that what if, you know, what if.
The what if was always there. It's definitely diluted over the years because my priorities in my life have changed.
Time and family.
But yeah, you're
Once
right,
become a
man.
dad.
But afterwards, there was a massive chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Out of the what if, of course. And then I was also presented with what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, and
brutal.
which is why I always say, man, have a plan B. Like, kids today are pretty switched on. And there's a lot more avenues to do stuff, but like I didn't have no plan Bs. It was all or nothing. And the reason I played football was because it was always an escape for me. I wasn't born into it. My brothers and my family didn't.
Yeah.
I found it by
It was an
accident.
outlet.
It was a ticket to a better life.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't come.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, it was like, right, we got to deal with that.
Wow.
You know, but luckily for me, it was good mates. So my
That's
mates,
so important.
yeah, my
And
mates
music.
were my family.
And your music?
Music, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That's a
Was
good
that sort of a big, like a time when you really escaped into music and stuff? Or
Music-
you were dabbling a bit before, or
Definitely dabbling before, and this is when I talk about those
Oh, true.
circles
So
of
you're
friends.
amongst that.
Yeah,
through your
well,
footy
Big
as well.
John, he and I were always musical.
Oh, yeah,
You know, and so it just comes around. Like, so through footy and music, I've got all these different friend circles. And then looking back on it now, as a father, husband, I'm older. It's the music played more of a part than first thought, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, yep, this is music. I'm saying some cool shit. I can rhyme, you know. And then all of a sudden, my lyrics started steering towards that personal stuff.
Yeah.
And and I was like, I think that it served way more of a purpose.
getting you out of them sort of
Yeah,
spots.
man.
You can, I guess, express yourself
Yeah.
through them songs. And
Most
through
definitely,
your
man.
lyrics.
Most definitely. Because people always say, oh, you got to speak up, you got to talk. You know, I say that to anybody, and sometimes it's hard to speak.
Yeah, because it
It
is
is.
important.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you might not be comfortable talking to people, but
That's right.
if you can say them words and get them off your chest in a
Yeah.
different avenue, whether that be
Yeah, man.
journaling, fucking
Well,
songs,
it's just, you're
anything,
right.
you know.
You're right,
like-
bro. It was
Release
like
that
journaling,
tension.
you know.
Yeah.
And so the music was always there, always in the background, always sort of just. My mother was very musical. It was always there, and I think when we went down the whole making our own music and rhyming and stuff, it probably came at just the right time, man.
Yeah.
Like how things happen for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Get you out of that sort of dark space.
yeah, man, yeah. But it was the mates that picked me up, man, when I was down.
Yeah.
And it was a job. Like one of my good mates, helped me get a job at Sun Metals.
There you go.
You know,
Yep.
and they were like, "What about swinging sledges, man?" And just working. And I said, "Whatever, man. I'll scrub toilets. I'm ready. Whatever."
Yeah, nice.
And I got back into the workspace. And then when I had a job, I had some cash in my pocket, and then I had some routine.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
I had all of a sudden I was getting
Yep.
structure back.
Good on
And I
you.
was
That's
like,
so important. Routine and
self-respect,
structure,
yeah.
rather than sitting around just with your thoughts. That
Yeah.
can be a dangerous
Dwindling
place.
on what could have been. You just got to move and
Yeah.
grind away. Eh?
very dangerous, man.
Yeah.
I did the dole for a while. That was humbling.
Yeah.
That was very humbling.
Yep.
But I did it. And I think through all of it, man, through all these things, like resilience grew. My resilience grew stronger.
100% of what it
And so it was just just progressed onto work and then fell into like just normal life for a young 20-year-old. And then from there, it was never really was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was just like, go to work, get paid,
Yeah.
be a labourer.
Yeah.
No real like plan, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
I ended up at Cleveland Youth Detention Centre.
Yep.
That was a good break from industry, and then met my wife.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Same.
Yeah, man. Well, the wife was the ticket.
That's awesome.
Everything changes
Yeah.
when you
It
get
does.
find that right
Find
one
love.
and have kids.
Yeah,
All
bro.
you need is love.
I was spot on, man. I needed a lot. I needed help, but I knew my wife and I were friends before we were together.
Oh, yeah.
So she was privy to myself and most of my history, and she always said I wouldn't have been with a footballer. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If you were a footballer, then this wouldn't have happened. So kudos for that. So yeah, it was. And then once her and I got serious, I was like, well, Johnny's, and I'm 28 now. 28, well, not now. At this time, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, well, shit, I got to do something.
Time to level up.
And it was through Cleveland. There was a bloke used to work there, Nige Logan. Work there, he'd come in and do mentoring stuff.
Yep.
His brother worked out at Foss Hill.
Yep.
And then I put in a call, man. It was a phone a friend, literally. And I was like, brother, I'm ready.
That's how you got jobs back in the
Yeah,
day, eh?
it still is. Still is.
Yeah, shout out Johnny Logan, Nige Logan. But I said to him, I was like, bros, I'll whatever I need to do, I'll do it, you know. And he got me a start, you know, and I haven't looked back, man.
In the FIFO life, taking
Yeah.
care of your family.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
No, it's not, man. It's not.
It's a hard life. But yeah.
What about talking just to brush a little bit more on the music and
Yeah, man, yeah.
The
you know, you
hip-hop.
were saying the
Good times.
personal stuff. You actually released the album on a personal note
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
Spotify. Go check it out.
Yeah, check that out, man.
listeners.
It's old.
Yeah, yeah. When
awesome.
did that come
The
out? What
Aussie
year?
hip-hop scene.
2011, man.
Because I remember
It's sick,
like,
man. I think it's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks,
because
man.
this is the first time I met you, but I remember seeing you all the time with Leslie back in the day.
Oh, man.
you
Well,
know,
yeah,
like
through
rapping,
music.
yeah,
Yeah.
rapping Les Sherrington out to the ring, and Les is
Oh, true.
exactly like
Yeah.
10 years older in like 2 days. So my birthday's the 18th of June. I think his is the 20th.
Oh, true.
So, but he's like exactly 10 years older than me.
Yeah,
and I've
man.
known him like my whole life, and I thought he was the deadliest cunt. You know, like he was deadly growing up.
Yeah.
We went to Thailand together last year. And
Oh,
stuff.
true.
It was mad.
Yeah, awesome, man.
But I looked up to Les, like he was the man, and then who's this fella rapping him out? He's even cooler. You know, like Les fighting on Fox Sports. Here's Johnny Rowe rapping
That's
him
right,
out to the
yeah.
ring and
Fuck.
shit.
I was
you know,
rocking like camouflage.
live and live rapping.
Yeah, man.
That's cool as
Yeah,
fuck.
Les came to a show.
We need to get footage of that. I want to
Yeah.
fucking. That's
Les
sick.
came to a show in up at the exchange, the old exchange.
Yeah,
it was
that was
grimy.
sick. The pool tables and that.
And,
Yeah.
and man, you know, it was like quite a small stage, right? And we're up there rapping away, you know, but there's this dude in the middle of the crowd, arms crossed like this, just staring, man, like intently
Into your
staring.
soul.
And I'm like, fucking who's this dude's looking a little hard, you know.
he's intense.
I was like, you know, I'm rapping like, yeah. No, he's looking at me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, and I'm like saying to my lads, I'm like, oi, it might be on after this. You go, like, just hang around, like, you know. I didn't know him.
Yeah, righto.
Anyway, I get off, and as you're pumped up from a show, he comes over to the bar, and I'm like, here we go. Like, you know, it's on, you know. And he's like, hey, going, man? He goes, I said, how are you, bud? You know, and he goes, I'm Les, and I'm like, how you going, man? I'm Johnny. And he goes, I like your shit, man. And I was like, oh, you know, he's like, yeah, sweet, bro. Cheers, thanks,
Just
man.
real serious
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, man, because he was sober. Right? He was coming up for a fight.
That's cool.
And I was like, oh, fucking hell. And he goes, hey, man, I'm a boxer. I'm a local boxer. You know, I really like, is there anything, you know, I'm looking for a song to come out. You know, you reckon you could give me something? And I was like, oh, and I'm thinking, whatever, man. Like, leave me alone. I just did a gig. Like, let me be, man. Like, I'm thinking he's nothing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Brushed him, basically.
Yep.
You know, I feel bad. He goes and fights. A couple of weeks' time, I get a text from him, old Sony Ericsson text, you know. And he's like, hey, man, how's that song coming along? And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know, rah. I sent him a song, and it was called How. I rap in an American accent. It was terrible, you know. But I sent him the song, and then, you know, he goes, tune in, like, on this date, and he come out and he's playing, and I'm like, oh, this dude's legit.
He's actually,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is for real. Like,
He wasn't just trolling
okay,
you.
you got my attention now.
Yeah,
Like, you know, and I'm watching him, and he come out to the song How, and I was like, oh, shit, that's terrible. Like, you know?
Should have given him a better one.
Yeah, so that was how he and I became mates. Anyway, afterwards, he bombed this guy. He won. And he rings me. He says, you see the fight? Because he gave me a shout out after the fight. That's right. He
yeah,
goes, Johnny Rowe, your shit rocks, bro. And this is
what a
when he
good
had his
guy.
little blonde tips and shit.
Yeah,
like, and I was like, oh, man. And that sealed it. I was like, oh, shit, man. Nah, I'm going to give you something proper, you know. And then there was a couple of little songs beforehand that just weren't grabbing me. And then I made the beat, and I was like, that's it. That big
So you made the beats too?
lock and load. Only this one.
This
I'm
one
not
you
much of
made
a
beat.
producer.
Yeah, okay, yep.
More vocals,
Yep.
but I happened to make this one.
Awesome.
And I made it, and I sent it to Les, and I said, oi, bud, because he was like, I need a name. I need a theme name. You know, and I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is all by text. And he goes, well, we're friends by this point. He goes, I need a name. And I said, well, you're a bit of a gun. So what about lock and load?
Yeah.
And he goes,
Lock and load, Les Sherrington,
Right,
ready
yeah.
to explode, eh?
yeah. And he was like, I like it. And I was like, well, you owe me, bud. Like, you know. And that's how it came about, man. Lock and load,
yeah.
Les Sherrington. I remember sitting on the floor at home, and he was messaging, I need a theme. I said, lock and load. Anyway, and then the song came. I was like, rightio, now I know I'm working with, and we did lock and load.
Yeah.
Lock, load,
Fuck,
Les
man.
Sherrington. And then, yeah, and then he was like, can you come and do it live? And I was like, hell yeah. Because that was promoting me with the music as well. And
Yep.
it was a good friendship. Still is, you know. Shout out, Les.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah, that was the music. Well, that was that part of music. Through there, man, that opened up a few other doors. I got to do some music with some good people in the hip hop space. We got to open up for because Townsville started to gather some momentum for getting gigs.
Yeah.
So Bliss and Esso come through.
Yeah, Bliss, yep.
So we opened for them, but they're only like second album in, second or third album deep. So they're still building there. So we opened up for them. The Herd come through. The Hoods come through. I think they were only like second, third album deep.
Yep.
But just a good time, man.
It was a good run.
Yeah, it
Australian
was.
hip hop.
You know,
yeah.
we
It
weren't
was a good
famous
era,
or
right?
anything, man. But we had some good friends, made some good mates. Sorry, made a bit of cash here and there, but then no one had released anything,
Yep.
and so it was my girl was like, you know, you're just going to be someone who can rap. You've done nothing, and like when you're with your mates, we just couldn't line up time. We couldn't agree. But we made good music together,
Yeah.
and I just went, fuck it, I'm doing it myself. You know, I'll do my own. And so I was like, right, and then I just started putting songs together.
Good on you.
And then they were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing my own thing. And they were like, what? I said, no, I'm still doing us. I said, but I'm just going to do one and then go through the process, see what needs to be done, and then we'll go from there. So I just started driving my own shit. I was like, right, let's go. I got the album done, and it come out on my 30th birthday, 2011.
Cool.
Yeah, 2011.
But 2011, shit, that is going back
Yeah,
now,
man.
isn't it?
So that's when we put the album out. Man, I recorded it in my room. I mixed it in my room. My boys give me the beats. All very just sort of like home studio.
That's sick.
And yeah, the mastering got done. I paid, sent away from that. When I heard it, I was like, no. But I didn't have enough money to send for remaster. But I was like, whatever, man, it's coming out.
Just chuck it out.
I think it still sounds pretty raw and legit.
That song, especially people after listening to this, if you're going to listen to one song on it, Scars. Scars, like we've obviously heard your amazing story today, but
it's an emotional song, isn't it?
You put that
You can hear the emotion in your voice.
into the song as well. And
well, man, when I did it, it gets emotional when you do it.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, ooh.
We'll have to play it on the outro to this potty so people can hear it.
But I was proud of it. I was proud of the project, proud of the album. There's a handful of songs on there. I reckon they were just fillers. I was like, just some funny stuff, tongue in cheek, a bit cheeky, But there's a handful of songs on there also that are very near dear to me, and that I'm like, oh yeah, you really went in on that one,
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's something that your kids and your kids' kids can listen to.
Yeah. The kids listen to it now, and I'm a father, and I'm like, oh.
Well, when they're old enough.
No, well, they've already heard it.
They have.
Yeah. But my kids are my kids are in primary school. It's where their friends come up and go, oh, I heard your music. And I was like, oh. Like, your parents know that, eh? Like, because I'm a father now, and it's kind of
I just like that it's a timestamp. Like your kids' kids, your great-great-grandkids.
Yeah.
It'll hold forever, right?
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely.
So, like,
and,
that's what I love
the kids,
about music.
They do. And my son's like, Dad, I like your stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool, man. I appreciate it.
That is wicked.
And I say to him, it'll mean more to you when you're older. And
he can reflect on it a bit
he's
more.
Like, cool. And then my daughter's very in the arts as well, with dance and performance. And, it's kind of cool when your kids look at you and go, man,
that is sick.
My dad, that's my dad.
they're proud of something that you've done.
100%.
Yeah.
No, awesome. And as they should be, man, because, it's...
Yeah, man, serves
awesome.
a good purpose. And I still make music. I just don't, it's just few and far between. Yeah. Between FIFO life.
Yep.
Well, you're doing
family.
a little MC gig soon. I seen
Yeah.
that live on the lawns. I seen a poster.
Yep.
When's that coming up? July?
That's
August
July
or something?
6th.
Yeah,
July 6th.
And I
So-
seen MC Johnny Rowbotham. I'm thinking, hey, this fella.
Yeah, man. and that just comes at random, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't done performances. For a while there, I didn't do performances in ages.
Just a random opportunity.
And
comes
yep, through a friend who's his missus is the events person. Everyone, because Townsville's small, right? She's the events person at the Ville.
Yep.
And he's at work one night and he's like, what's the chances of Johnny Rowe getting up? And I was like, not good, mate. I was legit. I was like,
Pay me either a bit of money or a bit of alcohol.
oh, I was more like, I don't even remember my own shit, but like it's been ages.
Need to relearn it.
Yeah, he goes, come on. He just nitpicked. And I made some calls, and then one lad, Robbie was my wingman that night, and he was like, I said, oh, Rob, can we do it, or you want to do it with me? He's like, oh, Bruss, like, oh, have we still got it or what,
The old fellas now.
Yeah, and I was like,
we still
oh,
got
well, looks like we're not doing it. And he rings back, he goes, could be fun, yo. And I went,
How he talks to.
I was like, righto, man, we're doing it.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Head down there live on the lawns. I might actually try go because they usually do them long weekends or something. Eh? It's
Well,
on
they
a
do-
Sunday.
It's on a Sunday, man. Yeah, it's
And,
on a Sunday, out on the lawn.
yeah.
Big John will be me wingman
Yeah,
this
cool.
time.
that'd be wicked to
down
watch.
the pavilion there on the grass down at the mill.
Beautiful setting.
It is good, man.
Yeah, I love
when
it
we
there.
when we did the show a few years back, it was fun, man.
Yep.
It was fun. But I was rapping to kids like, Johnny Rowe, my mum knows you. And I'm like, I'll say it to your mum for us. It's just weird, mate. Just a weird dynamic, like mates that I'm mates with, their kids are in the crowd, they're charging on. And it's just kind of like, whoa, But yeah, all in all,
funny,
man, a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Cool.
Good
I'm
times.
sure you fellas will have fun. Yeah, I might try and make it down. We'll see,
Yeah,
what's
fuck
happening.
The Hoods are coming to town as
they?
well on July 26th. And don't quote me, I think I've got a bit of a spot before them as well.
Oh, sick.
That might be early on. I think they got a line up before
Yep.
them, but they were like, "Do you want to have a crack?" And I rang work. I
haven't
said,
seen
"I'm
them in a
rusted
long
on,
time.
man." I was like, "I don't want." They go, shout out to my team leader, Big Davey Allen. He was like, "I'll book it for you right now."
Yeah,
bud."
sick.
And I was like, "Okay." Oh, looks like I'm going to do this.
Keep an eye out for that date too.
Yeah.
No, awesome. There's some good stuff happening around town, eh?
Yeah, it is, man. And it just comes at random. And I've been saying to everybody, like, this might be the last gig. Meanwhile, like, it's been
Johnny
like,
Farnham,
Johnny,
mate.
come back
yes, very much John Farnham, man.
My last one. It's my last one.
It's going to be the last
I
one.
swear.
Get down to it. Like, oh, Johnny's been 4 now. I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep riding the wave, man.
Yeah,
Whatever.
good on you.
Keep
No,
turning
awesome,
up.
mate. We
That's
might we usually send things to people, but I forgot. So you're going to be chucked on the spot here for the guest questions.
Oh, good, man.
We'll do this
Rolling
and
in
wrap it
guest
up,
questions.
eh?
If you could eat anything for the rest of your life, what are you eating?
Pizza.
Pizza, straight up.
Yep.
I don't think we've had anyone say
No.
pizza yet. And that's actually
Pizza,
a good
man.
answer.
That is a good answer.
Fuck
Like
yeah.
that, Mike.
Any specific pizza or?
If I'm on death row and I need that last meal, I need that Riviera extra special because it's got the beef on it. I need that thin base. And I need that giant size.
Yeah. Riviera can't be today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's your favourite ever athlete?
Oh, man. I love an underdog. But there's a name that's in my head right now, Wally Lewis.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
Yep.
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't born in the rugby league or whatever, but someone give me a Wally Lewis VHS tape after I started playing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the King, man, I was watching
That's
him.
my mum
going,
always says he's the best.
Yeah, I
Mum
was
always
watching
says it.
him and I had that VHS. I rinsed that tape, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just looking at Wally, obviously Origin.
Just competitive, mongrel, fucking.
Yes, just, that tenacious.
Went after him, eh?
Yeah, mate, because he did it all, man.
He was,
Hit,
yeah.
play,
And he was a
and just-
big 5'8".
Yeah,
too.
he wasn't fast, but
Yeah.
man, just
guided the game.
ball, you know what I mean? Good leader.
Yep.
You know what looked to me to be a
Staunch
good
too.
leader. But
Tough
yeah,
and
just
staunch.
never took a backward
Yep.
step.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? And every time he threw a Queensland jersey on, I was like, motherfucker, I'm Wally Lewis. I'm
yeah.
Wally Lewis, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
What's the most awkward or shittest situation you've been in? Something up on stage when some cunt's staring through you like this.
Oh man, awkward. As in awkwardness. I guess there was a far out, bro. That's a lot, eh?
If you want to tell it.
Yeah. As in terms of like awkward, cringe stuff.
Yeah, if you can remember a moment.
There was a young kid. There was a kid. This was when I was at work at Foss Hill, and
Yep.
I was shooting a game of pool. I hardly ever go to the bar, and this was a kid just out of nowhere, just hovering around. And you know when someone's hovering,
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey man," you're like up in the. And I was like, and I just pulled up, like, "You right, buddy? You right? You okay?" Like, and he's like, "You Johnny Rowbotham?" And I was like, "Yeah," but I had my posse, and they're like, "No." And I was like, "Yeah, man, what's up? How can I help?" And he goes, "Can I get a photo with you?" And I was like, "You serious?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "You rapped at this," and he was quoting all these lyrics and song lyrics, and he just started rapping, man. And I was like, "Bud."
Make
You
me
know?
shame.
He just started rapping my lyrics. Yeah. And I'm like being kind, man. I was like, "Yeah, cool, man." Cool. I was like, "Oh yeah."
Lay a
you got
little
that."
beat for him.
Yeah, man. And you know what? But you know what, bro? Like, look, it was his moment.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah. Good on
He
him.
took his chance.
Good on him.
And that's why I was kind of like, oh, it'd be more for him. But for me, man, I was just like, oh, bro, you know. And then everyone was like, he's gonna follow you back to your room tonight, bud. Lock your door.
Start sniffing your pillow.
Yeah, but you know that
that's a good one.
In a way, that was kind of cool. But
Yep.
but you had to be there.
Just
and I was
shamed you out at the
kinda
time,
like,
mate. All the workmates roasting you.
Yeah,
It would be hard to like.
well,
have that happen or
work's
get
like my
used to it.
workspace,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like I sort of separate it. You
Yeah.
know? So when
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
they
Yeah,
intertwine over, I'm like, oh yeah, and you get guys at work like, hey, bust a rap. And I'm like, no. Like, you know,
Yeah, I get it.
you
I
know,
get it.
yeah, man.
Oh,
But yeah, there's many, but that's one that just
that's
comes
good.
straight to
That's
me
good. You can remember that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that question would stun a lot of people. They're like, "Fuck, I'm trying to think of
I
something."
was just thinking what's appropriate too. You know?
That too. What's
yeah.
something you're good at but people don't realize, like a hidden talent?
Ooh, gaming.
Gaming, true.
Yeah.
What games?
Big closet gamer.
Mad Dog. What
You
games?
know, I don't do the online thing. So any story driven, any
Yeah,
role
okay.
play,
The classics.
you know, I don't mind me a good game.
Yep.
You know, and I'm you know, I can zone out on them for quite a
Yeah,
long time.
it's good. Yep.
But yeah, man, I don't mind a bit of a game in here and there.
What's something you're not good at?
Something I'm not good at. I'm not good at giving up. That can be a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta let things be.
Yep.
So I'm definitely not good at giving up. In terms of a physical thing, I'm not good at giving people high fives with my left shoulder. That's for sure.
True. Still a bit dusty.
Oh yeah, bro. The story goes on with this. I'm looking at probably looking at a replacement in the not too distant
fair
future.
enough, bro.
But yeah, there's an ongoing joke between certain people.
Yep.
Give me a high five, Robo. No. You know.
What's your favorite album or like or artist that you're just constantly pumping?
Favorite album? Well, I'm definitely hip hop. You know, definitely hip hop. But my music likes are so broad.
Same, man. Same.
It is, man.
We've spoken about that.
Yeah.
Me and Hoop's both listen to everything.
I do lean towards the 90s era of hip hop music.
Yep.
Not that I mean I respect the hustle, I respect the creativity. I just relate to it more.
Yeah.
Even go far as back as the 80s. Like NWA was my very first cassette.
Yeah,
that
right.
was back in 87. Wow. So you imagine, you know, I'm in grade 4. So how old's that? I'm 8-9-year-old white kid going to Brizzy primary school singing "Fuck the Police." You know, not a good introduction, but that's where it all began. The whole rap love for rap thing, you know, and I spat the dummy and jumped around on the floor until my mum bought the tape.
Yeah.
And she got the guy to chuck the tape in. And he's like, put it in the first song, straight out of Compton.
Fuck,
Ice Cube.
That's way more gangster than mine. Mine's embarrassing. Mine's fucking Spice Girls.
Oh, bro. Shout out Spice Girls.
Shouldn't be bringing that up.
They had their moment in the sun, man.
That is gangster.
Yeah, man.
How many young people would that have changed, when that come out? And what'd you say, 87?
87, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just,
I remember
like,
the big
blew up.
poster.
Yep.
My mate Percy
Yep.
Estrop, R.I.P. Percy, he was big Maori boy. So he was my best mate in Brisbane.
Yep.
And he had 4, 5 sisters, big, loving, beautiful Polynesian Maori family. And the sisters were all older, and they listened to Public Enemy and
Yeah, all the
KRS-One,
classics. Fuck yeah.
and I just heard all this swearing, and I was like, "That's awesome."
When you kid.
Yeah. And we were going through Kmart in Brisbane and Murray, that was a suburb, and I saw the poster, I saw the cassette. It was like $20. You know, I was like, "Oh, Mama's pension day! Come on, we got this, we got this."
Yeah.
And I just didn't let it go. Normally I'd be like, whatever, you know. I just did not let it go.
Had your heart set
Not
on
good at giving up, see?
I rinsed that tape, man. Repaired it, broke it, knew every word to every song. So yeah, all music though, bro. I even lean towards the country these days.
Yeah,
You know, I love that hybrid country stuff. Jelly Roll. I love how Post Malone is.
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of pop
Same.
singers
I love it.
coming out with this country? I
Yeah,
don't know about
country.
Beyonce getting country album of the year.
That's about the only one.
That's ridiculous.
It's a bit
But
political, a bit
I think
egg on
That's
there.
ridiculous for sure. I
But
agree.
all music, bro, all music has a place for me, man. Yeah.
Awesome. We're very similar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, man.
What's your favorite motto of all time? Or do you have a quote that you really sticks to you?
Oh, there's some good ones, man. One that I use a lot, I think I said it in a song, but I make moments matter.
Make moments matter. Yep.
And brother, like that has never been probably more of a mantra to me. Mantra. What's the
Mantra.
word?
Yeah.
Mantra,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Just make it matter, man. And it could be anything little. It doesn't have to be big, but because when you get to my age, I'm 44 now. When you make the moments matter, you think about them now, and it's just kind of like, oh damn. Yeah.
And moments go so quick, eh?
So
you
quick,
want to
man.
make them matter.
So quick, and they can't always be good. They're not always good, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're learning moments, or you're going through something.
You got to appreciate the beauty in the struggle,
100%,
but
bro,
when there is a bad
100%.
time, there's
And
beauty
that's
in
what
it.
young people need to realize
Yeah.
now, man. If you can get through whatever you're going through, if you can get through it now,
Yeah.
get through this smoke. Trust me, man.
Yeah.
There's resilience and more
Yeah.
on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yep.
Just got to get them there.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So yeah, make moments matter, bro. That's probably will be on my headstone.
That's a good one. I like that.
that's a good
That's
one.
cool.
Yeah, man.
Johnny Rowe.
Yeah.
Make moments matter.
Fuck yeah.
Make moments matter.
Cheers
good-
again, brother,
that's a
for
good
your
little way to
time.
end it.
This
No
was
worries.
awesome, ep. Make sure you head over to Spotify. on a personal note.
Yeah, check it out, man.
Look out for Live on the Lawns and whatever
And check
else
out
is
the song
coming up.
Scars, which
Yeah,
I reckon
Scars.
we'll play it if that's okay for you, man.
Oh, man,
I reckon.
go
We'll play it on the outro.
Have a
and,
listen.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me,
yeah,
boys. Eh?
thanks for listening,
Thanks,
everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
No worries.
Peace
Cheers.
out.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Once upon a time I had the whole world at my feet. My face in the paper at least twice a week. A star on the rise, the headlines would read. Soaring to the top like a monkey climbing a tree. What looked to be a bright future turned darker for me. The stadium lights dimmed and it was harder to see. My left shoulder dislocating was a part of the dream. The fact it had to happen to me was hard to believe. Had surgery, thought the setback would murder me. Return with the vengeance to where I deserve to be. Captain of my country for a second time. 98 was the first, I backed it up in 99. Regained confidence and remained positive. With sheer dominance, tackled my way back to prominence. The game took me back with open arms. I never thought it would deceive me and leave me with a broken heart. So close yet so far. God knows I tried so hard. No regrets in my heart, though I was left in the dark. So